Greetings, dear ones. I am Observer. I join you this day with a great observation of humanity, for things are moving in a very powerful direction. Now, we tell you there are ups and downs, there are all the challenges ahead, obviously, the things that you have worked so hard for. And we tell you some of these are being greatly resisted. The rise of the feminine itself has moved as we said it has. It has brought new energies to this planet, new ideas. But it's also brought fear for those that have felt that the masculine must be a superior energy in some way, for those that felt that there must be a competition between the masculine and the feminine, and felt very threatened by the feminine energy coming in and actually moving a lot of energy in the way that it did. Well, that is cause for concern, because what happened here is the masculine energy has grabbed hold very hard and strong, only for a short time. Please understand, nothing lasts forever. There's a turn going on that will simply turn again. Watch for the pendulum to swing in the opposite direction. Humans are wonderful animals full of love, and that's the piece to keep in mind. You have all these incredible energies and these memories from home, dear ones. So let us speak this day, since we are in this What Is series. The what is that we wish to speak of today is what is family. For you have many different visions of it. When the Keeper was first starting this work, he kept talking about family. He kept talking about the Lightworker family. He kept talking about the spiritual family of other people around him. And some people had negative reactions for that and simply said, well, you know, you've obviously had a different experience with family than they did. People that have brought up with very negative experiences and lack of support around family. That is only one very small level of family of which we wish to speak this day. For the reality is all of your attempts at relationships in all areas are simply reflections of trying to remember the things that you automatically have at home. Now, humans are fascinating beings. All of you are working with new energies. We've just brought a new aspect of ourselves in. You will hear from her another time. But the reality is that there are many things that are just moving at the speed of light right now. And as this happens, we'd like to take you home for just a moment. Now, you've been playing the game of pretending to be a human. Your spirit has been divided up into 11 different aspects, all carrying parts of yourself, all carrying parts of your personality, all carrying parts of your core personality, which is the true you. So they're all you in different aspects. Now, they've learned different things. They've been moved in different ways. Their bodysuit has been taught different things, so they have different aspects of where they are, sometimes even opposites from where you might be. But that allows the spirit to change in a lot of different ways. So here's what happens. Let's just say, for instance, that you go home for a moment, and you're walking down this street, and you know you're home. You know you're not in your physical body. You know you've died, and you know you're walking down this street. And all of a sudden, you see someone coming from the opposite direction. First thing first, you check yourself to see who you are that you are presenting. You do have a bodysuit if you think you have a bodysuit. So you check your bodysuit. Oh, I'm okay, I'm good. And you go forward. And as you start to perceive this person, there's this whole welling of your heart that starts to manifest for you. And you can't explain it. Your brain is searching like crazy to figure out where you might have known this person or what this was about. But your heart just is exploding with this energy that you're feeling for this person. You just want to grab them and hug them and be a part of them in any way that they will allow. And yet you're just walking past them on the street. You don't know what this is. In that moment, they turn and look at you. And in that moment, you are flooded with memories of sometimes past lifetimes, but more of experiences that you have experienced on the other side of the veil. For when you integrate in that way, you basically share memories, you share experiences. That's what happens to you when you go home. All 11 of you that experience life in slightly different ways come together and blend it all together in this perfection. Magical thing. That is family. Now, what is family on the other side? Well, dear ones, you are not new to this earth. Many of you have been here thousands of times, or similar experiences, as we've mentioned. Some of you go back to some of the original Earths. You're in the fourth Earth right now. Some of you go back even further than that. So the reality is you've experienced this game of pretending to be separate before. And most of the time, you experience things with relationships here with a limited vision. You have massive amnesia. You are not able to remember who you are and where you came from and what you experienced in the last times out. So as such, you tend to find yourself redoing things or doing the same things that you did before, learning the lessons quicker usually, but nonetheless, you seem to have to start over in different ways. That can be very frustrating for new spirits pretending to be human. But the reality is you start working with this really well. Now, from the other side of the veil, you have core essence. It's very difficult to describe exactly what that is because you're all blended a part of each other. It's not like we can pull one thing out and say, this is you, and this is Fred, and this is Mirtha, and all these different strange energies. You do. That's how you play the game of pretending to be separate from each other. You have physical bodies that can represent that. But we do not, because you're all part of each other. You influence each other all the time. So, interestingly enough, that is your core family. And yet, there are certain aspects that are almost closer to you than other ones. Now, this is difficult because this indicates a space situation at home, which doesn't really exist. But we're giving you illustrations that you might be able to understand. So, what happens is that you have a connection with someone you're trying to connect with, but they're way out here. Well, that simply means that you have to work through that connection, but you make the connection. They're part of you. You just have to remember them, almost as if you have to remember their phone number or something. So that's really part of it, and yet there's these beings that are right here experiencing what you are experiencing. Those we call original spiritual family. Now, there are times on planet Earth when you actually intersect your reality with theirs. So you may be seeing some of your original spiritual family come back into your life. Most of the time they will come in for short times because sometimes they can upset a lot of things, which they tend to do. But the reality is many times they'll come back into your life, they'll intersect your life, they will bump you if you're not in a good situation, they'll let you see yourself from a perspective of love and they'll move on. And most of the time, and it's not that that happens all the time, sometimes they will stay, sometimes they'll be part of your life for the rest of your life. But for the most part, you're going to have people that will intercede your life that know you well. These were the people, the original spiritual family, which many times will, as we say, will cross your path at specific times. Usually on a path to their own place, to their own dreams, to their own work. So this is one of the things that we see happening a lot. On top of that, there are so many of these very intimate parts of you that exist around you all the time, almost like a magnetic attraction, because you're all slightly vibrating differently, which is what kind of makes up the whole of what is. Everything vibrates at a slightly different frequency. Yes, you have ranges of frequency that you often inhabit. You break some of those down into colors that you call. But the reality is there's so many more. But those vibrational ranges are basically what you exist in. So the other thing that happens many times is sometimes you'll be passing someone or meeting someone for the first time, and you'll feel this deep, deep, deep connection. Well, it can be very confusing. Sometimes it was a contract that was passed, because many contracts are skipped for lack of motion. It's frustrating for us to watch. On this side of the veil, we see many wonderful contracts being set up, and at the same time, when they activate, people tend to walk away. So, yes. So these are the connections to family. Now, when you come down here and you pretend to be human, you also choose a family. Not really, you choose a primary parental contract, not really a family, because you're entering into the planet of free choice. It is possible that you may not end up with both parents that you chose, so you choose one primary parental contract, one that you know you can connect with, and you trust her to find the perfect partner for you. Many times people get very lucky, very lucky. Other times, not so much. Other times, there are times when about 20% of the planet now, actually 23% of the planet, are in backup plans. These are when you have set on your side of the veil, we're talking about family on your side of the veil now. Before you came in, you set up a contract to have this person be your father. And he was going to teach you, you were going to look up to him, and you were going to just emulate him in every way possible. It was going to be very intense, okay? And all of a sudden, he's not there. They decided not to have any more children. There was an accident. He died. Whatever took place, that avenue closed down before you came in. So what happens is many times you will choose an alternate path. Now, many times that alternate path has other things to it that you're not really familiar with. So sometimes when you put yourself into a backup plan, most of the time that means you're the black sheep in the family. You may have brothers and sisters that all seem to get along pretty well, but you're the oddball one. You think a little bit differently than everybody else. It's also entirely possible that mother or father, usually mother in this situation, can actually be afraid and concerned because she now has this baby and she can't connect with the baby. She basically doesn't have the natural vibrational connection that she would normally have with the baby. Very common, and that is made on your side of the veil. But in the very beginning, it sometimes leads to a little mistrust that sets into a relationship. Sometimes it can go on for a person's lifetime. So on your side of the veil, family means all these things. Sometimes these are opportunities to learn. Sometimes they're great support. Sometimes family is all about love. Wonderful. Sometimes you signed up for a little of both. Sometimes you said, you know, I'm going to be in this family with you, and we're going to be learning from these incredible parents. We're very lucky to get this spot. Will you also bug me and steal some money from me or do something from me? So yeah. We set up all kinds of contracts and different things inside of these perfect arrangements, obviously. So enjoy the journey above all. But contracts on your side of the veil, relationships are built, always. Now, when you start with a vibrational relationship, it usually means that you have a deeper connection. That was the person that you chose from the other side of the veil that was no longer available. So many of you, 23% of you, have actually taken an alternate Plan B contract on your birth. And in here, why would you do that? Well, there's a very good reason. You wanted to be here now. It was critical for you to be here now. there's a very important aspects of this. As we mentioned, the new reality is stepping up. You're moving very quickly now into a higher vibrational state. Please do not judge that by the news or by things that are happening in politics or things that are happening in all these crazy third dimensional world. But look at it from the higher aspect of how you can connect and what is in your reality around you right now, because you create that. And in the fifth dimension, you create much more of it. You basically can extend this in ways that you didn't dream possible. There's many aspects of being able to work with this in a higher vibrational state to build a comfortable life, full of excitement, full of expansion, full of creativity. This is truly where you're stepping in this. Now, where does family fit into all of this? Well, number one, your original spiritual family will always be your original spiritual family. They will always love you, no matter what you do. Is that true with family that's down here? Not always, not always. Well, you've got other things here. You've got finality. You've got other things that you're dealing with here. So you've got the duality that you've been growing up with. You're not anchored in triality yet, which is where we're going. As we step into a higher vibrational state, everything is anchored in threes. We'll show you much of this going forward into the work that we're going to be bringing in about a lot of this aspect. So with this, you step forward, you step into a new reality in a different way. And your original spiritual family is called in at the most incredible times. Sometimes they don't intercede in your world in a normal way. There are times when an original spiritual family member inhabits a body for a few moments to walk in front of you in a busy street, to catch your eye for a second, to smile and to move on. In that embrace, they basically caught your attention, they planted a seed of home and remembrance, and may have actually even changed your life. That happens a lot on planet Earth right now. You may be one of these people that will be doing this with others. So also, as you walk through the streets and you find yourself coming eye to eye with someone, smile. Plant that seed intentionally. Let that go whenever possible. You'll find so many things starting to awaken with new attributes. It is time, dear ones. So the families themselves. Well, many times you build families around things as well. For instance, you may have a family that you have around your spirituality. You may have a family that you have around your work. If you really like your work and you really like the people you work with, they're a family. You see them every day. You probably spend more time with them than you do with your family at home. So you become a family of sorts. And yes, you're going to have a crazy uncle, and yes, you're going to have all those things. That's family. And you allow this to open up and play this game because these are built. Right now, more than ever before, reaching out and connecting in any ways possible can be huge. There are so many attributes, dear ones, that are intending to separate people on planet Earth. It is an intentional move for power takeover. It is being aided by technology that you're unaware of. But the most important part is you're aware of it now. So even though the technology is there, the reality is nobody can really make anybody do anything. They can suggest a lot. And many times that's really what's happening. But the reality is you're awakening from the dream. And once you fully anchor in the higher vibrations, the more that you anchor in your fifth dimensional world, the less that you can even notice this, because this does not exist on that level. There's no third leg. It's only one or the other. Neither one work. Take a breath. Good. Good. The family is an important aspect of where you're going. You will feel them all the time from home. And we hope that at some point after you leave this physical body and you return home, that you're walking down a lonely street, that you see someone off in the distance. And as they get closer, you may realize it may be us. Allow that to enter your heart. Know that you're never alone. We're walking this street with you. Enjoy the journey, dear ones. With that, we leave you for now. We are complete. Treat each other with respect. Nurture one another. Play well together. I am observer, and I do like to watch. Espavo, dear ones.